Y'all ready? Yeah. Let's go! Now here it is, one to make you move. Something with a funky kung fu groove. Something that'll make you shout, make you play to the crowd, and make you wanna tune it out. So honeys gather round, right round. I'll pick you up, take you on, go pound for pound. Cause I'm the only man who'll please ya. I got a little something that'll tease ya. So throw those hands up high. Come on. Shake your body, move from side to side. That's right. Cause we just begun, party people in the place, yeah, we're having fun. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be a big star.
Godzilla vs. Kong is a movie that's been long awaited since the Godzilla franchise was revitalized back in 2014. And after a sequel and a new standalone Kong movie taking place in the late 70s, we got just that. Released both on streaming services and in theaters, Godzilla vs. Kong is out now and people seem to love it. Critics say it's great, you just gotta turn your brain off. It's been heralded as the giant monster movie we've always wanted and now have. And I just have one thing to say about all that. How you not gonna put King in the title? Give King Kong the respect he deserves. Put respect on that name. Speaking of Kong, this is basically his movie. Godzilla has no character or motivation, except that he doesn't like honorable apes. Granted, he is just a dumb lizard, and hasn't really been depicted of having much intelligence in the other movies, he still always seemed like he secretly knew more than he was letting off. Kinda like a cat, you know? His actions in this movie just seemed void of that, making him extra dumb to me. But anyway, enough spoop for now. Let's give a retelling of this film before I get into anything else. So, spoilers for the entire movie ahead. We start with a shot of the sky, only to immediately be told where we are with the title card. Thanks, movie, wasn't gonna figure that one out on my own, with the giant monkey and all. And you literally tell us right after that intro montage with dialogue anyway. But before then, we are introduced to the last native from Skull Island, a little deaf girl, Jaya, adopted by one of the scientists, Eileen Andrews. The scientists use Jaya to bridge the interspecies gap with Kong. She doesn't have an entourage because they want the king to feel safe hanging with her, but they have cameras on her at all times. So then we learn that the king is getting too big for his home, from these people that have contained him in an enclosed dome far smaller than the island. Like, why? And this turns out to be the main plot driver of the movie. They gotta give Kong a bigger place to frolic, because he keeps growing in size. But the scientists are scared because Godzilla is currently the king of monsters due to him killing all the other ones, and they think if they move Kong off Skull Island, then Godzilla will detect and hunt him down. Sharp cut to a janitor, Bernie Hayes, who has a conspiracy podcast broadcasting his findings, working from the inside. Straight off the bat, you'd figure the company would have algorithms scrubbing the internet for certain keywords like apex, whistleblower, conspiracy, and stuff like that, right? Either way, he begins downloading sensitive information off of someone's hard drive. When out of nowhere, Godzilla attacks the base. Bernie is luckily unscathed from an explosion, while also discovering a mysterious metallic orb. Then we follow Millie Bobby Brown's character Madison Russell as she learns about the attack on the news. She is also an avid listener of Bernie's podcast, so she comes to believe Godzilla was provoked by the Apex company. She visits her dad Mark, played by the ultimate father figure himself, Kyle Chandler, and he tells her to stop listening to that conspiracy podcast. That's about half of his screen time in the movie so far. Then we meet Alexander Skarsgård's character Nathan Lind, much easier to spell, as he is pitched to help Apex's CEO Walter Simmons and his right-hand man, Ren Serizawa. This is probably the best characterization in the whole movie. We learn Nathan lost his brother during an expedition to the Hollow Earth because of a gravitational shift that happens when you reach the inner surface. Walter assures Nathan that his specially designed crafts are made with that shift in mind, and wants Nate to help lead the charge. Nathan then meets with Eileen to convince her to move the king to the Hollow Earth, saying that they also need Kong to show them the way for some reason, even though they've been to the entrance and have established tunnels leading right to it. She says sure, and the movie cuts to Kong sedated on a ship. Straight up, what? How did they do that? That seems like a huge endeavor. They could have made like a really interesting scene going over the process. Well, anyway, they choose to move him by ship. I understand not wanting to try flying him due to the perpetual storm that encircles Skull Island, but maybe once they cleared it, they could have set up a flying team to escort him. Either way, while on water, Nathan meets with Walter's daughter, Maya. She's an overt dick to him, and he literally brushes it off constantly throughout the movie. It's like she's trying to pick a fight and he just won't take the bait. Just going, oh yeah, haha, okay, the whole time. Some time passes and the deaf girl Jaya sneaks out of her quarters to converse with the king. Eileen catches her and says it ain't safe out here, and Jaya reveals to her mom and everyone on board that Kong can communicate English through sign language. This was a thing all along apparently, and no one knew until now. How could he have gone through the process of learning English without them knowing? Maybe from John C. Reilly, but even then, how could they not have known that Jaya and Kong had been conversing all this time with eyes on her? Who knows? And now they know that he speaks English through sign. We then go back to following Madison as she almost drives away with her friend's brother's ride. They seek out Bernie successfully and talk about tap water. Back with the ships, as expected, Godzilla catches a whiff of Kong and swims out to kill him. We learn this through Jaya because she is magical and detected him at the same time as distant radar trackers. Jets fly out to shoot at Godzilla even though the military has shot at him for several years now and know that this method is completely ineffective on him. Pilots die preventable deaths. Ships capsize with countless casualties. Then, as expected, Kong loses the fight quick, helplessly kicking underwater to no real avail, but then plays dead once away from Zilla and the lizard's like, oh, he's dead now I guess, and then leaves the remaining team alone. Meanwhile, Madison, Bernie, and the crew come across a shipping container at the destroyed Apex site and go into it, magically knowing giant wet eggs to be skull crawlers before being locked inside and shipped to China. They then decide to fly Kong the rest of the way, showing that this was a viable option from the start. They land in Antarctica at the door of a tunnel. The king doesn't want to go in at first, but Jaya lies to him about having family down there, and he runs in at full speed. You don't think he would have just wanted to go in because it's shelter and he's cold outside? Either way, the team follow him, though they could have just gone in without him, and then they travel through a portal between dimensions to arrive there. Very strange. Once in the Hollow Earth, Kong has a run-in with some monsters in the movie's second best scene in my opinion. Then he floats around between lands like the movie Upside Down. We have a quick meanwhile segment to reveal what Walter has been up to this whole time. He's made a Mecha Godzilla powered by a dead Titan. And Ren is the pilot, getting a little too much pleasure from killing a skullcrawler. All that activity ruffles Godzilla's jimmies, so he heads out to China to kill the bot. Back to Kong, he goes on a Lord of the Rings quest to the mines of Moria, following statues leading him the way. There he discovers 0 family members, the reason for his going, but instead of being sad about it, he plucks a cool axe out of a skull and sits on the empty throne to be king of this new apeless kingdom. Then he charges his axe like an iPhone. Godzilla makes it to Hong Kong, now ignoring his initial bloodlust and somehow getting a whiff of King Kong in the other dimension, hundreds of miles down in the earth, and he decides the best way to kill him is to shoot a laser beam down to the core. Side note here, but wasn't it established that shooting the laser beam is costly for Godzilla? Wasn't that why he only did it a couple times in the 2014 one? Anyway, all that ruckus spooks Coach Taylor, now in Hong Kong for business. Down in Hollow Earth, Maya shoots at Kong because he's slightly in her way, and he straight up crushes her ship, killing her. The rest of the humans, Eileen, Jaya, and Nathan, follow Kong with a now booted up axe to the surface, and they get there in under 5 minutes it feels like. It also doesn't take them going through massive gravity changes or portals to get back. So if that spot on Earth in China was so close to the Hollow Earth, wouldn't the Chinese government know about it, like through fracking or something? Why was it so hard to get down to the Hollow Earth until now? Moving along, the big fight happens. Kong wins round 1, and then Godzilla literally beats out Kong again, this time basically killing him. They both yell at each other, and Godzilla leaves him to bleed out slow. Madison, Bernie, and gang are caught and escorted to Walter's head room, where he talks to them for some reason. Apex activates Mechagodzilla, and it's instantly possessed by the ghost of the dead titan it's powered by. And for some reason, the Mechagodzilla's first instinct is to specifically kill Walter. Cool, bro. Now here comes the madness. King Kong is revived by the ship thing doing a charged pulse, doing nothing to cauterize Kong's deep gashes that put him in that state. He gets up while Godzilla and Mechagodzilla fight, and converse with Jaya, who tells Kong this, that the monster that had just killed him is in fact not his enemy, that the enemy instead is the robot. Kong sees these words and goes, okay. Kong and Zilla team up and defeat Mechagodzilla. They look at each other with a newfound respect, and Zilla heads off into the sea. Kong heads back to the Hollow Earth, which by now would be like absolutely polluted by every major government trying to establish territories to pool the new land's resources. Instead, we just see Kong loving his bigger pad. The end. So, to break down the movie into a plot, it goes like this. Kong need bigger home, plus he's lonely. Godzilla must kill all big things. Company builds new vehicle to get more resources from untapped land. God must kill all big things. They trick Kong into going into hole to find family. 3 dummies get stuck in a cargo ship and wind up in Hong Kong. Kong finds lost civilization with iPhone axes. Godzilla must kill all big things. The giants fight, Godzilla wins. Kong is resuscitated successfully and told that the person who just killed him is not his enemy. Giants band together to kill a new robot. Then they don't fight anymore. Kong lives happily ever after in a bigger playpen, even though he's still completely alone as far as family goes. The end. So, in regards to the ending, is Godzilla intelligent or not? Why is he so hellbent on killing Kong before, and then understands teamwork and respect? It would have made so much more sense if Godzilla didn't want to fight Kong all along due to instincts or something, but instead it was the king that had it out for Zilla. Kong could have had murals on Skull Island that would have taught him that there was a war of their kind, so he constantly tries to kill Godzilla anytime they meet, only for him to change his mind later and then have them be buddy-buddy. Godzilla's more OP as far as raw power goes, so it would make sense for him to hold back if he was just fighting in self-defense. Also, Millie Bobby Brown and her gang are essentially rewarded for being conspiracy nuts the whole movie. We shouldn't be promoting that kind of thinking as normal or sane. Also, Dimension Portal, also Ghost Monster. I don't care if it's the dumb head of Ghidorah. It should have just been the dude controlling it. Anyway, to conclude this review, I will read what I said on Letterboxd. So you're telling me the entire movie was just so Kong could get a bigger pad? Sorry, but even against the trash of Godzilla King of Monsters, this takes the cake for the worst of the series. Everyone seemed to hate on 2014 Godzilla because Cranston died and there wasn't enough fighting, but dude, the dialogue in this movie, and the pacing and plot cannot be excused. It was so bad that I couldn't get into the fighting myself. It just wasn't justified based on what was happening. It was like really bad foreplay that turned me off by the time it got to the real stuff. The point of these movies is the fighting, but fighting works if it is set up good, and it was not here at all. The whole movie to me was that one scene in Kong Skull Island where that dude pops the grenades to sacrifice himself, only to get whipped into a wall and die for nothing. That was this movie. Nothing. Silly concepts like monsters fighting should not be used as an excuse for lazy writing. You should use that silly notion to experiment and try to make the best of that genre. This whole thing came across as lazy and soulless. It seemed like they didn't care because they knew it would make money regardless. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. I would rather have this franchise die than be this. And with that, I give Godzilla vs. Kong a half star out of 5. It's harsh, I know, but that is my take. Alright, well, that'll be it for me. This is just a little outro video. You've heard my beautiful voice, now you get to see the face. Hope you guys had a good time. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, retweet, and bold. Do whatever the heck else you want to do. Bye bye. So long. Sleep well, Primate Nation. Bye bye.
Dad?
Madison, where are you?
Can you hear me? I'm in Hong Kong! Dad!
Madison!